Hello, 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 hello. I am so excited about today's class. And if you are live with me, please, please, please go ahead and drop your name and where you're tuning in from in the chat so that I know that we are good to go and we're working. I'm going to tell you, it's always something, but it ain't going to stop us because we are absolutely here. And so I'm super excited about, today's class. We are going to be talking about how to ultimately build a career, build a business while you still have a full-time job. And the reason why I wanted to do this because I know some of us need to still work. And right, I also know that some of us have amazing ideas about what a business could be. You have these amazing ideas and you just want to get them out and you can't, or you don't know how. And you think that you need to quit your job to do so. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. And so I'm hopefully I am going to save some of you a lot of heartache and trouble that we send ourselves through when we think that we're supposed to be doing something different than what we're doing, right? Okay, so let's just start there. I have been in business for an entrepreneur for 15 years. And within this 15 years, I have started businesses, quit my job, needed to get another job, to stay in business, all these things. And during this crazy time right now that our country is in, I was like, and y'all know I'm an executive coach. So I've been talking to a lot of you on these coaching sessions. And you want to quit your job and you want to start a business. And I needed to come on here and kind of share with you all how you can still start a business and not quit your job until it's time, right? And it's not exactly what I did. And so I'm trying to warn women against what I did so that you don't have to suffer a lot of the heartache and the pain. Now, there was this book, I can't remember the name of the book, but a long time ago, the author and the seminar guru, his name was Jim Rohn. And I grew up off of like Jim Rohn, during the Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins age. Still love Tony Robbins to this day. Jim Rohn is no longer with us. And he would say, which I never really wanted to listen to, but he would say, he always had this funny cadence to his speech. He's like, you work your job and you build your business on the side. And when your side business continues to make you more than your real job, then you quit your job. And then you can work in your side business full time and it becomes a full-time job. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that because here's the thing. Here's the thought process that we go through. We think that in order for us to grow a real sustainable business, we have to spend all this time in the business. And because we need the time, that means we need to quit our job. Is what I thought. Is exactly what I thought. And I will tell you that it's faulty thinking. It's faulty thinking. Because when I actually did ultimately quit my job, I struggled to even figure out what were the business activities that I needed to do on a daily basis to help me make more money. So you think you already know this a lot of times, and some people might know what they need to do. And I did know some of what I needed to do, but there was a lot of time where I spent and I was just like, all right, I did those three things. What's next? What's next is you could have been on that job making some money versus struggling, trying to build this business. And so that's kind of what I did. So I ended up, most of you know, I went from social worker to speaker to coach and to CEO. So that was kind of my trajectory. And then to professor, right, which I am now at Life University. And so that was my progression over the years. And so I first was a social worker, and I just had a love of pouring into women and hopefully ultimately helping them to become more successful. And I thought that in order to speak and to speak around the country, I needed to quit my job. Here's the thing, unbeknownst to me, my job was very flexible. They knew my passions, they knew what I wanted to do. And anytime I had a speaking engagement, they didn't have a problem giving me the time off. But that wasn't even good enough for me, right? It wasn't even good enough for them to be flexible. I just thought I needed all the time to take off from the job, right? So I ultimately ended up quitting that job. But here's the thing though. Although I quit the job, I was still smart about it. They still hired me back as a consultant and as a temporary employee. So I was still making money working for that same job as a temp employee. But what I didn't have is I no longer had health insurance through that employer. And I'm lucky and blessed that my husband was able to pick up the slack. But that's what most people won't tell you, right? Most people won't tell you that they have somebody on the back end helping them pick up the slack when they decide to quit a job. So here I am. I did quit my job. Luckily for me, my husband had health insurance on the back end, and he was able to pick up that slack. But I was still trying to work this and build the business, and clients didn't come right away. I had some clients, of course, before I quit, but my whole thought process was that I need to quit so I can have more time to get more clients. No, you need to work your job until this side business can produce enough income on a consistent basis. When I say consistent basis, 6 months to a year, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that this is going to continue and that you can quit your job. Because it's a fallacy that you think that you're going to quit and then grow the business. No, that's backwards. That's the wrong mindset. So I quit and I, worked a little bit, started growing the business, but it was a struggle. Your girl was on the struggle bus. Yes, my husband had income, but and I will consistently say this, we are a 2-income family. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what it is. And if one person ain't making income, that means we are a 2-income family with 1 income. What y'all think happens? What y'all think happens with that? You struggle. We struggled way too much. And so I started this business, and, I was one of those persons, or I am, not was. I am one of those persons who is completely determined. I would find, jobs or, jobs enough to hold me over so that we could make money while I still grow this business. But that was the last main job that I ever had. And so up until years ago, we had struggled for way too long when we didn't have to. And so I'm going to say this to you, right? I get it that you want to leave your job and you want to start this business. It's commendable. It's noble. But what's not commendable and noble is struggling. And you ain't got to do it. You don't have to do it. I think that what needs to happen is that you need to realize if you are fortunate enough, right? And I'm going to say fortunate because you do know the time that we're in right now, right? There are so many people who are losing their jobs, not quitting, but losing their jobs because of everything that's going on in our economy. Just think about that. There are people who are forced to leave the only employment that they have to put food on the table. If you were in my class last week in terms of how to navigate job loss, if you were not in that class, check it out. It's called How to Navigate job loss in tough times. I talked to you about my friend who just recently lost her job and she has 4 children to feed and she just bought a house and she lost her husband last year. So if you're in this place right now where you actually have a job, consider yourself blessed. But there's a lot of people who still have jobs, right? So we're not going to say the whole world is doom and gloom, but consider yourself blessed if you're in that place. So what we want to do is, as we are going through this whole process, I want you to first understand that it is not necessary for you to have to quit your job in order for you to build this business. I didn't have to do that. I chose to do that. And we're going to talk about how to build this business while you're still working a full-time job. Okay. So I hope I made the case for you to not quit your job because you don't want to struggle if you don't have to. And I don't think it's necessary, especially in the beginning of you starting a company. Or if you already have had a company and you want to scale it, you can still do that while working a full-time job. Okay, so here's the first thing. Number one, we got to realize that, the job that you have is a blessing. And the reason why that is not only that it probably allows you to pay your bills and your rent and put food on the table, but it also can provide seed money for your business. The money got to come from somewhere. And most businesses cost money, right? Most businesses cost money. Why not allow the job that you have, as long as you're still putting in your full effort to that job, to continue to pay you while you grow something for yourself? Right? Why not do that? Right? Because this money that you make over here from this job can be seed money for you to grow the business that you are actually wanting to grow, right? That's the money, it does like this, and so it's seed money that you can use to grow. So you have to understand that. And once you can understand that, then you can actually move forward and build this business. But as long as you're thinking that the job that you have is a hindrance to you growing your business, more than likely you're going to struggle. You're not going to be as successful as you want to because you're thinking that you're being hindered when in all actuality, this is not hindering you. This is helping you. It's giving you stability. And I don't know about you, but there is nothing like good old stability, because this is what happens when you quit your job in order to start a business. What you do is you are expecting a newborn baby to support itself. And you know that newborn babies can't do nothing. They can't sit up, they can't walk, they can't eat, they can't feed themselves. They can't do nothing by themselves. Like they are infants. But when you quit your job prematurely to start a business, you are supporting your baby business, right? Like you are expecting your baby business to support itself, to be fully grown in the instant that you quit your job. That's unreasonable. Like it makes no sense for me to quit my job. When I first started my first company, it was unreasonable. My thought it was just unreasonable. And I look back on it now and I was like, oh, I just didn't get it. And I didn't heed the word of people, because there were people who told me, just like I'm telling you not to quit your job, there was people who told me that as well. But I just knew without a shadow of a doubt that I had to quit. And that's what I did. And I struggled. So your mindset has to be, this job right now is a blessing and it's going to help me grow my business to a place where at some point I might possibly be able to quit this job because this business is booming. Understand? All right. So that's the first shift that we actually have to go through, which is a mindset shift about what this job is to you. It is only a blessing. It is not a hindrance. Okay? It's only a blessing and it's not a hindrance. That's number one. Shift your mindset around your job. Number two, you have to really, really, really be strategic and get your timing together, your time management together. Listen, you are going to have to be better than maybe what you are. If you are not used to being able to manage your time wisely, this is going to be a difficult thing for you. See, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the truth. A lot of coaches out there who, by the way, are not certified. I'm just saying. I am a master certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. I am the highest you get when it comes to coaching. Right? But a lot of coaches out there are going to tell you that, the easy route, right? Or that this thing that you're attempting to do is easy. But let me just come and tell you right out the gate, Kiki's truth bombs, right? That what you're attempting to do is not easy. However, it is doable. It's not easy, but it is absolutely doable. And I've taught hundreds of clients how to do it. So heed my words, right? You're going to have to become better. You're going to have to become better with your time, your energy, the way you roll, the way you sleep. You're going to have to become better. Because until you become better, this is going to be extremely difficult. And so here's what I mean. If you work a full-time job, and so we're just going to say full-time is 40 hours, right? I know some of y'all out there working more than 40 hours. Right? I do know that. I also know some of y'all out there working less than 40 hours. I know that too, right? And so whatever your work schedule, we're going to say 40 hours, right? Because that's the typical work schedule. So what does that leave you? That leaves you the time before you go to work or the time after you get off of work, for the most part, to build your business. And this is what I'm saying. You're going to have to get super strategic with your time management skills. When I was growing my business in the past, I would work after I got off from work. I would work on my business after I got off from work. And was I already tired? Yes. I was already tired. But here's why I'm about to say this. And this is so true. You don't build a business because it makes money. You build a certain business because you're passionate about it. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me, right? Now, hear me when I say this. I'm not saying that the goal is not to make money, because the goal of starting your own business is to make money, right? Like if you are a for-profit organization, your goal is to make money, right? But hear what I said. You don't start a business just because that business makes money. You start a business because you're passionate about the actual business itself. And I want to give you an example. I used to be in a company a long time ago in terms of real estate. It was a real estate company, and it was also a insurance company, but it was also under network marketing and all of that kind of stuff. And I ultimately joined that business because I wanted to speak on the stage. I wanted to be the person to motivate all of the people who were in the audience, right? But how do you do that? You have to do the business. And the business was selling real estate or either selling insurance, neither of which I was passionate about. What I was passionate about was what would happen as a result to me doing those things. But I could never, and if I did those things, I would make amazing money. If I was able to sell the amount of real estate and or insurance that this company provided, I was going to make amazing money at doing so. But because I joined that business because I thought it was going to get me to my passions of speaking on stage, and they also very much boasted the earning potential of that company, I joined that business. And guess what happens when you do that? It is not sustainable. It's absolutely not sustainable, right? And so that's what I mean by when I say you don't join a business because that particular business makes money. You join a business, or you start to create a business because you're passionate about it. And it's only that passion that's going to keep you in the fight when things get hard. And oh, baby, they're going to get hard. I'm just letting you know right now. When it comes to starting your own company, it's going to get difficult because it always does. And so I literally started that company, and every day, every week, I would never sell. But I would go to those meetings and I would be motivated, and I would daydream about being on the stage, motivate my team and all that kind of stuff. And one day I just said, you know what? Yeah, this ain't working for me. I literally pulled up to the meeting with my beat up car. I parked far away because I didn't want nobody to see me getting out of this car. I went in, I had a nice suit on and everything like that. And I sat there daydreaming the whole meeting that I was the person up on stage. I was like, why am I doing this? I might as well start my own business speaking, because that's what I want to do. I want to motivate. I want to help women succeed. So I quit that business because it wasn't sustainable. It never had a shot. And so if you start your company, right, because somebody told you that this particular business makes a lot of money, but you are not passionate about the line of business, it's not sustainable. I don't care what nobody tell you. It's not sustainable. You need to find something that you're passionate about. Okay? So let me go back. You have to work during the hours that are provided to you that you can't, because you can't work potentially during the hours that you're working your other job, right? I believe in still giving your job your best and everything like that during this time, but you're going to have to be strategic about your time, because the time that you have is either before work or after work, and on the weekends. And if you are passionate about this business, you're willing to sacrifice that time. Now, I've always had kids. I've had a kid since I was 17 years old. So I've always had to learn how to grow what I've grown around children. And you will too. And so here's how this looks. You go to work for 8 hours, because we're assuming a 40-hour job. And after work, you get to working on your business, whether that's an hour or 2 hours or whatever you can spare, but you're going to get to working on your business. And when I first started off, that's what I did. I would work on my business after hours, because that's what I did. In later years, I changed to working on my business in the mornings because I realized that I was more optimal in the morning time. That's a whole nother subject, right? How I'm a part of the 4 and the 5 a.m. club. I've changed up the game and now I work in the morning. Even to this day, right? In the businesses that I run, I get up at either 4 or 5 o'clock, depending on how much I got on my plate for that day. And I work on the business. And because I get up at 4 sometimes, I have 2 whole hours before my kids get up at 6 to work on my business. And sometimes that's the sacrifice you're going to have to make. It's a sacrifice you're going to have to make, regardless of anything. You're going to either need to choose to get up early or stay up later. Now, I believe in sleep. Sleep in all of this is super, super, super important. But this is why I said you got to be strategic. Now, you may not be able to work 50 hours on your business and 40 hours on your job. Like, it just might not be feasible. But the more time that you can put strategically towards the business and growing that, the more you're going to get out of it. And so you may lose sleep, right? I'm not advocating for it, but sometimes when you're trying to get something off the ground, you may lose sleep. I have another philosophy. It's a Kikiism, right? And so one of my Kikiisms is that you can do hard things for a certain period of time. We all can do hard things for a certain period of time. And during that certain period of time, it's going to potentially take sacrifices that you might not ultimately have had if you were not doing that thing. I'll give you an example. Oh, and everybody's certain period of time is different for you. But I'll give you my example. I wanted to get my PhD. So I went back to school to get my PhD in business psychology. I did this while having a 1-year-old, and I got pregnant with my third and final child while I was in the program. Talk about hard things. Okay, talk about hard things. At the same time, my wonderful husband, Jamil, was getting his PhD. Like, I'm not even playing. We both were getting our PhD at the same time with 2 kids under 2. Okay. So talk about hard times, right? But here's the thing. I knew that this was only going to be for about 4 years. Now, some of you might say, Dr. Kiki, you said a short period of time. Like I said, your short period of time is different from my short period of time, and it's different from your friend's short period of time. It's all different. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Y'all know something like going back to school is going to take you a couple years. And I was going back to get a PhD. So it's going to take me a couple years to do that. But for me, because I knew what the goal was and what the outcome could be after I completed my doctorate, it was going to be beyond phenomenal. I knew that I could sacrifice, and I needed to sacrifice that time. And I knew that once those 4 years was over, I was going to get back to being the mother who could spend more time with her kids and grow the businesses that I so desperately wanted to ultimately grow. Because I still had my first company during that time, and I started my second company while I was in my PhD program. I don't do nothing simple. Like, I be thinking about that sometimes, and I'm like, Lord knows I don't do nothing simple, right? I don't do nothing simple. But it's always purposeful. It's always purposeful. So while I was, doing that, I knew, I kept on telling myself, this is for a short period of time. This is for a short period of time. And I'm going to be able to overcome this, get back to the businesses. And guess what? I graduated, and I have been able to do just that. And that was a very difficult time in life, but I made it through. And I'm here to share that I have two amazingly successful companies, and I'm helping women all over the world find the careers that they love and build the businesses that they want because I endured for a short period of time. And so I go back to say that when it comes to you managing your time to grow this business, you're going to have to be strategic about it. What I need you to do here is I need you to map it out though. What does that look like for you? Are you going to get up early? And don't think that you can't get up early if you're a night owl. I was completely a night owl. Like I could stay up all night. Like during my PhD program, I would be at the dining room table with papers spread out everywhere. And my whole family, I would see them one by one go upstairs to go to bed. I would also see them one by one come downstairs after they done woke up in the morning and I'm still sitting at that table. I could burn the oil all night. But I read a book and I just started doing research about, getting up early. And that research ultimately changed my life. It literally changed my life. And so now I try to go to bed at a decent hour so that I can get up and be okay and ready for the day. Right. But that's a whole nother subject, right? But I need you to choose. I need you to choose whether you're going to get up early or you're going to stay up late to grow this business. I need you to choose which days of the week that you're going to get up early and stay up late or stay up later, right? Mind you, all these things that you're doing, getting up late, staying up late or getting up early, you still have to keep in mind that you still got to get your rest because you got to do your job in the middle. It is what it is. It's neither good nor bad. I know a lot of us love to label this, right? And like I told you before, it can be tough, right? But what is it worth to you? What is it worth to you? What happens a lot of times is if we quit our job, I've seen so many women have to go back to work. And ain't no shame in the game. You got to do what you got to do, right? But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you not make that choice in the beginning, right? I've had so many clients who had to go back to work because this business thing, it ain't to be played with. It's not to be played with. But if you keep your job and you do what I'm telling you about your time, you have the opportunity to be so amazing with it. And so for me, right, I did quit my job, but I went back and did temporary work. At some point, we were so in such a bad situation. I was like, oh my God, I have to do something. So I went back and it wasn't a job because I was still a 1099, but I ended up going back and started coaching for someone else. And prior to that, I was just only trying to find my own clients because I'm my own boss and I'm on my own this and own that. Baby, let me tell you, ego, she will mess you up. She will mess you all the way up, okay? So I didn't want to do that because I felt like working for somebody else it meant that I was a failure, right? But it got so bad that I had to do what I had to do. So I went back and I got, essentially a job working for somebody else as a coach. And it was the best thing that I could ever done. Hands down, it was the best thing that I could have ever done. So if you are listening to me right now and you have quit your job in order to start your business and you are struggling, girlfriend, go find a job. Stop putting yourself through this daggone torture that you're doing. There is no glory in struggle. Like, we got to get out of that mindset that we are here, we grinding, we have to struggle. No, you don't. You do not have to struggle. Now, granted, I know that this is a really interesting economy right now, but I do know that jobs are still available. They're still out there. I have just been blessed to get a full-time assistant teaching as an assistant professor at Life University in the Master's of Positive Psychology program just the other day. Jobs are out there. Yes, is it maybe a little bit harder to find and to get on? Absolutely. But I have a class about that as well. So check it out because, my goal is to give you what you need in order to survive and thrive during this time, right? But if you are listening to me and you out here, you struggling because you ain't got no job, because you're trying to grow this business and you think that, you're some hero because you haven't taken a job, but you're also struggling. Sis, there is no glory in struggle. It's not. I want you to start applying for jobs because that's how you're going to really grow that business, is that you feel stable and supported. When I went back and got that job, man, life did this. My business, my company, my coaching company, my own coaching company did this. Guess what? Because I wasn't stressed about money. I wasn't stressed about having to put food on the table or keep a roof over our head because I had a job. That's just that caveat. So where we are at right now is that you're either choosing to work in the morning or to work at night, and you're choosing the days and the amount of time that you're going to do it. And you're going to then do it. You're going to work on your business in the allotted amount of time that you say you're going to do. Now, here's what I say, what I'm going to say about that. You have to do this for a significant amount of time in order for it to work. And at some point in this journey, the tides are going to begin to turn and you're going to start having more clients, making more money. And that is going to accumulate, especially if you're good with your finances. And then at some point, maybe in the future, I don't know how long it's going to be for you, but you will be making more money than what you're making on your job. And then you can transition into your business on a full-time basis. That's the path. That's the path. You actually got to do it. And here's where most individuals who want to be entrepreneurs fumble the bag. You say you're going to do it, but at the end of the day, you don't actually take the actions to work on your business before or after you get off of work. And therefore, it doesn't grow. And then you start thinking, oh, I need to quit my job in order to do this. But you haven't even proved to yourself that you can do the work while you still have a job. But you see how you get the wrong idea? Because you're not motivated or you're tired after hours. I get it. I understand. I was dog tired. But yet and still, what do you want more? We have to start being honest with ourselves. A lot of times, y'all, as y'all can see, my style of coaching is I love you, but I'm going to tell you the truth. We have to start being honest with ourselves. And a lot of times we make excuses and we think those excuses are reasons for us to really not do what it is we're supposed to do. I'm not accepting that. Yes, it's going to be hard and you're going to be tired. But you said you're passionate about this. You said you want to live an amazing life. Well, guess what? Girlfriend, it's going to take some sacrifices for you to get there. I sacrificed for years. Years. I remember when I made my first 6 figures in my company. Let me tell you, when I tell you we celebrated hard because I had been struggling prior to that for so many years, but I had to be honest with myself and let myself know that I wasn't really doing the work before that to get to that place. And so some of us need to be honest with ourselves. You don't need to quit your job. You just need to do the work after hours or before work. You just have to get it done. Okay? And I want you to do that for a consistent basis. And when you do that, the goal is that you ultimately are able to transition from that job to your business on a full-time basis. But you can't do that before you have traction in your side business. You can't do it before you do that. Okay. All right. Well, I absolutely hope that this class really helped you. If it did, please share it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. It is going to help me really reach more women with this message of really discovering your God-given purpose and creating a career and business that you love. That is my whole purpose and goal in life. And if you are here and you're joining me live, I have a real amazing treat for you. In just a little while, I'm about to do a free coaching call. And I'm doing this because, number one, Happy Women's History Month. And I want to help us. I want to support us. And this is what I do anyway. And so I put together this free coaching call for women who just want some guidance, some support, be in a room full of women who are encouraging and just looking to soar and to thrive and do better. It's coming up. So you would have to go to my community, though, to get the information, which is Thrive Society. It's a free community where I dedicate time to uplifting and empowering women and giving you the tools and the resources to be able to thrive. And so in Thrive Society, you will find all the information about this free coaching class that's coming up in just a little bit. And so how do you get there? You just go to drkiki.com and you click on Thrive Society, and you'll go down to the bottom and join Thrive Society for absolutely free. All right, y'all. I love you. Remember that you have the ability to make your dreams come true. You just got to go after it. All right. Talk to y'all next time. Peace.